Hello, this is Lisa Marie Garcia with Now Publishing. Again, I'm so excited to provide another show called What No One Knows. And today is our day to talk with an industry expert. Every month, we'll bring you an expert, someone that will help our authors sell and promote and become better deliverers of the message that they write in their book. So today I'm happy to have Phil Gerbyshak. Hello, Phil.
Hey, Lisa, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for being our industry expert today. Thank you. And I'd like to tell our audience a little bit about you. So I'm going to go ahead and start with that. Phil's also an expert in podcasting. He's been doing it since 2006. I don't even know if I knew the word podcast in 2006. His conversational style has featured such business luminaries as Tom Peters, Sally Hogshead, Lisa Sasevich, and Seth Godin twice, to name a few. His current show is called Conversations with Phil Gerbyshak, which features insight sales professionals, business leaders, and small business owners that can to be able to improve their mindset, skill set, and tool set. In addition to his podcast, he has written 5 books. Yes, 5. And many articles. I think over 3,000 articles have been featured, and he has been featured on 3 magazine covers. When Phil's not podcasting or writing or speaking to audiences as a sales speaker or a sales trainer, he can be found walking on one of Florida's Gulf beaches, playing pinball, or serving other speakers as the 2020 and 2021 National Speakers Association president. So I'm so happy, Phil, that you're going to share your expertise today on how important it is for authors to be able to be a professional speaker, to share their message and to help achieve their dreams and hopes for their book. So again, thanks for coming to the show.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. And just one quick ad there. It's the National Speaker Association here in Central Florida. Not for the whole association.
Not for the whole world.
That would be really fun. No, not for the whole world. Just full disclosure there. So.
Okay. All right. Well, in my mind, you're king of the world of all the speakers.
All
everywhere. Okay. All right. So, if we can just jump right into this topic and the reason that we invited you as our industry expert. So, in my experience now in publishing, which is about 6 some years, what we found is the most effective and to be honest, the most profitable way that our authors can sell the most books in the shortest period of time and really make an impact is to be a speaker. So we are, in our Now Publishing role, we are encouraging our authors that say to us, I'd like to be a speaker. We are absolutely encouraging them to walk down that road. So I'm really excited to talk to you, to have you share some tips with us and your experience, especially also being an author as well as speaker, and share that with you. So just to start out, I mean, why do you love being part of the speaker community? Just to start with the passion part.
Sure. Well, I love being around other people that are passionate about what they do. Most speakers love what they do, and they're typically very willing to share that. So I love to learn. I love to get other people's energy, and I love to find out, why do they do what they do? And speakers are very open, very willing to share that. And they're also very helpful. It's really about growing the whole pie. People that are in the National Speakers Association really believe that there's a big pie out there, and the goal is to make it bigger, not that there's some scarcity model. So that growth mindset and that willingness to share really excites me, and it really helps my business, and then it encourages me to help others as well.
So would you say then, for the speakers that just specifically they're in the National Speakers Bureau, in general, do you think that they are somewhat similar in backgrounds, or is it very diverse? Kind of talk about that, because for our perspective, our authors are all over the place in terms of diversity and backgrounds and that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there is quite a bit of diversity in their backgrounds. You have folks that had run their own business for 20 or 30 years, been CEO of a company, professional athletes, people that, published a book and then got on the road, folks who faced adversity, overcame that adversity, and had have a great story to share. We have people that, frankly, are entertainers, musicians, magicians, anybody that can get on stage and hold people's attention is someone that is eligible for NSA. And that's really fun because learning from all angles, from all sides and all different stories, all different backgrounds is a lot of fun. Not to mention, every socioeconomic background as well, whether you grew up wealthy or poor, whether you grew up, in the country or the city, anything about you, it ranges the spectrum of who is involved in NSA. The only requirement is that you show up and you're willing to at least pay attention during the chapter meetings, and then to become a national member. There are some requirements in order to get there, but it doesn't matter your background. It doesn't even matter how you deliver that. You could deliver it. We have some that deliver primarily over the web. We have some that deliver primarily only in person, and most are a hybrid of that. Most have some web and some in person, but it really doesn't matter. We absolutely support a diversity of backgrounds, a diversity of experience, and a diversity of thought.
Thank you. So we kind of dug right into the NSA and that, and we'll talk a little bit more about that because I think it's a fabulous resource for speakers. So thank you for a little bit of that insight. So for an author, that's one resource, but for an author that says, okay, I'd like to become a speaker and, like you said, hold people's attention, what would you say is a good first step, or what would you say would be things that they would want to start doing now as they're, just taking that first step?
Well, much like you would when you're writing a book, you want to catalog your stories. You want to find out, what experiences have you had in your life that are interesting to you, but hopefully interesting to others, and get those cataloged, and then practice those in 3, 5, 7-minute bursts. Get really good at delivering those first. You can do that in Toastmasters. You can do that, maybe you speak at a Rotary Club or a Kiwanis or somewhere, even if you speak in front of your organization, maybe you're transitioning from being a full-time employee to hopefully speaking and writing more full-time as part of your business. Take the time to write those stories out. Take the time to catalog those stories. Take the time to sharpen those stories and make them really interesting. Even if you're not sure exactly what the point is, that would be the first step that I would recommend for anyone that's thinking about becoming a speaker, because stories are really what captivates people. It's not just about facts and reading information. It's really about the emotion and the storytelling and the way that you connect with your audience. And as you go, you'll find that audience, and you'll be able to then tailor your story to the lessons and the insights that your audience needs. But first, get going and get cataloging those stories.
I love it. I love the sharpening the stories. And, what I learned early on in my career is I used to have this big old bio, right? And it would be, and she's a tennis maniac, and she ran a marathon, and she did this and she did that, until I learned that, no one really cares. I mean, what they care and what they want to listen to, like you said, are the stories, what's interesting. I mean, someone can read someone's bio and pepper a little bit, but at the end of the day, and now I've shortened my bio, very much so, but it was a really good, lesson that I learned early on. And I love that you're saying, start with sharpening the stories, cataloging what are those significant points in your book, what are those pivotal times, what are those inspirational stories that you have. And then I love the 3, 5, 7-minute bursts. And my question is, for those bursts, do you recommend that they memorize the 3-minute, they memorize the 5? Or tell me what you believe.
Absolutely. I think as you go, you absolutely should, ingrain them in your heart. You should be able to perform them more than just read them or say them. So absolutely. I think as you go, you might need some notes. I actually would suggest, use PowerPoint slides to kind of reinforce those points, those images, so that you remember what those points are. But absolutely, as you get better, you definitely should be able to memorize your entire speech, not just those 3 and 5 and 7-minute bursts, but really the whole speech. But as you're starting out, memorize as much as you can. Get really good at that and write them out, script them out, see what happens. And if you're not great at that, I would actually recommend that go ahead and perform them first, but then get them transcribed. Use a tool like otter.ai that'll automatically transcribe for you so that you can then see, what did you say? And I actually recommend every time you speak that you get in front of an audience, you should absolutely record. I'd record the audio that you say. I'd record the audio that your audience responds with, and then take the time to then compare the two, because you'll hear then, oh, well, that was a funny line, or I didn't think that was going to be funny, or gee, that way that I phrased that was really interesting and that really resonated with my audience. So take the time to record that. And even after the fact, you could take the MP3 file, which is an audio file, or the MP4, which is the video file, and then drop that into a transcription engine and get that transcribed so that then you can start sharpening it even more.
Amen. I love so much that you said. And, I have talked with other speakers in the industry, and there sometimes is a disagreement about whether you should memorize your speech or not. Definitely the majority say memorize, but there are still people out there that don't believe in that. But I have to say I'm on your side, and I think it's critical. The speakers that I have watched that were completely polished and amazing, they have memorized their speech. And so thank you for giving that advice. The other part that is important, at least that we agree and we align with, is where you say, transcribe it and then perfect it. What we do, and now publishing, and actually we've only probably done this for maybe a year and a half. We provide one professionally written speech to our clients. And that really came not out of, trying to make them, a professional speaker. It came out of, my sitting in the audience at one of their events and listening to them butcher, honestly, right? I mean, don't want to hurt feelings here. I'm not going to say names, but really making a mess of telling about their book. And I just would walk away, say, there were so many misses on there. People are not intrigued with their book. They really didn't tell the story the way they needed to. We need to help this. So we went back to our team, and we do have actually a award-winning speech writer as part of our group that provides that. So very good advice. And then the last one, thank you. I didn't even think about that, where you say your speech in front of an audience, record it to see what impact and what reactions you get. I mean, it seems so obvious, but I love that. So effective, like you said. It's funny because I'm thinking about, are you an Office watcher? Or maybe
a little bit, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, and I think about the stupid times that Michael Scott's up there trying to give a speech and how, ridiculous his jokes go flat. I mean, it's sort of like that, right? So you
Absolutely.
So wonderful. Very, very good advice. Do you think, speaking of that, I mean, do you feel like it's essential that a book author that wants to publish their story or promote their story does learn how to become a speaker?
Absolutely. I think the best way to get your message in front of a large group of people and influence them, to get them to understand your stories and your point of view, and that you're really a demonstrated thought leader, is absolutely to speak. Do you have to charge for it? Not necessarily. If you get in front of your best audience, people that can buy you for consulting or for coaching or for other services, or an audience that can each buy a copy of your book, you don't necessarily have to have a fee associated with your speech, but absolutely you should get in front of folks. You need that video, you need that audio, you need those repetitions so you can see really what resonates. And then perhaps you could even sharpen that book, or it'll give you some insight into what might be your next book. I can tell you that writing a book that has no solution is like, being just a problem in search of a home. I would tell you that your audience really needs to resonate and feel your energy and your emotion and your passion about that. And there's no better way to do that than speaking. And again, you can do that on the computer, right? Technology makes that easy. It could be via Zoom or GoToMeeting or anything like that. It could be in person at the Kiwanis or the Rotary. It could be, you could get hired by an association or a company. Wherever you do, though, whenever you speak about it, think about all the authority that's transferred from the person that introduces you to you. Typically, the introducer is the CEO, the head of the association.